Welcome to Surviving Society.
Hi everyone, I'm Raheel, I'm from Maslaha, and I'm super excited to be chatting more about our work in the prison system as part of this partnership with Surviving Society. Not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm sitting in for Chantel, the legend. So yeah, we're going to do our best, but we're just going to talk a little bit about our work and I guess the stories that are kind of untold about the prison system directly from the people who've kind of experienced it. Just as a kind of background context, it's worth knowing that over the past 16, 17 years, the Muslim prison population has nearly tripled. It's 18%. And I've only just recently started saying tripled. For quite a while, we were saying, the Muslim prison population has doubled. But, it kind of gives us a sense of where we're going. And, in the general Muslim population is about 6%. I think one of the kind of key things that we learn is that there's a knowledge and expertise that comes from going through a violent system like the prison system. And that knowledge and expertise is often unrecognised. And so when we're reading academic reports, sorry to our academic family out there, or reports from government, there's a real lack of kind of analysis and deep insight that we actually get directly from people who've been through that violent environment. So today we're going to be talking to two people and they're going to introduce themselves in a minute, Fidel and Suleman. Over to you. Do you want to just introduce yourselves, let people know who you are?
Hello everyone, my name's Suleman. I'm also work at Maslaha alongside Raheel. I'm one of the project managers on our criminal justice program. I myself, going back a long time ago now, when I was a teenager, at the age of 18, I was sent to prison. I received a couple of year sentence. And since then I've been working, I studied criminology, and then I've been working in sort of a penal reform sector, but within the last few years working sort of directly with Maslaha to improve the experiences of people that I feel like I'm a part of as well, because I'm from the same sort of communities. That's a quick snapshot of who I am and what I do. Over to you, Fidel.
Yeah, hi, my name is Fidel Jobo. I'm 29. I'm from London. I'm from Togo as well, West Africa. And I speak two languages, English, as you can hear, and Kotokoli is called. But yeah, that's what's up.
And you mentioned what city you were from in Togo.
Oh yeah, I'm from a city called Lome.
So do you want to say a bit about how both of you met? How have you got to know each other?
I think I was, what they call Switchback, innit?
Yeah.
I was working with Switchback at one stage. And then, they got in contact with Maslaha. And then, I came through that way. Innit?
Yeah, exactly that. So we had a criminal justice program. We were probably in the very early stages of our criminal justice program. We had a report had just come out. So we were speaking to people with experiences as Muslims. We had a relationship with Switchback, who's a local charity close to where we're based that supports people coming out of prison. They do some really great work. And one of the members of staff there referred Fidel over to us, and this is a wonderful man with lots of knowledge that can share with you. And he is also from a Muslim background as well, so his experience is specific to your work. And then, since then, it's been probably 4 years now, I think.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Since me and Fidel have sort of built a relationship over that time, I guess, as well. We've had a few nice lunches together, hot dinners as well, and we've had a number of very interesting conversations about a range of things.
Can you go into what some of those conversations were about? What have you spoken about?
I remember.
I definitely remember, because Fidel is full of wonderful stories. He has really incredible stories that will move you emotionally, spiritually as well. And that is all the stories that he has from his time of being in prison, which was quite a long time. But I'll obviously let Fidel speak a bit more about that as the show goes on. But yeah, I think a lot of our conversations have been based around his experiences, what it's like to be a Muslim in prison, what racism and discrimination looks like, how ingrained within the system it is, and how it becomes normalized in so many ways. And being able to share that common ground that we've both been through the sort of similar experiences in the past, and how we can come together and, in a way, I guess, heal ourselves, and also make sure that people are hearing about these stories, and they need to be heard, because otherwise they're just hidden and lost otherwise.
Can you sort of maybe talk a bit about what it's like, your kind of first experiences of like going into the prison system, how that maybe felt, and Suleman, you're saying like healing yourself, right? Like just what that kind of, like what does that mean? Like what's the reason that you feel like you need to heal yourself? What has that experience done to you, and how do you manage that?
Going to prison was hard, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. I went there when I was a teenager, and I came out adult. So my experience in prison, I had both good and bad in it. You know what I'm saying? I had stages where I wasn't practicing my faith, and then I had stages where I was practicing my faith, and how that helped me in my mental health and dealing with the prisoners and the stuff. And yeah, man, I don't know.
No, I think Fidel has a really interesting point there about his faith, and how your faith is such an important part of the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Such an important part of just trying to cope with such a place. I think Fidel has spoken about this plenty of times, about how his religion has helped him, and it still helps him be the person he is.
Mm-hmm.
He is today, and as well as myself. Yeah, prisons are difficult. When you go in, it's scary because you're in a place that you're not used to. Nothing is normal in that sense, and I think like when you think about the racism that comes with it as well, it just, especially being a person of color, of a faith, and just seeing like the response you have when you go into such a place.
It's too different.
It's very different. So then I think it's really important that we were able to, like, we have stuff like our faith that's able to support us in such situations. But I don't think anyone that goes in prison initially can say anything positive. I think it's always negative to get go. Just getting used to such an environment, such a violent, negative, harmful place.
Mm-hmm.
It is difficult, and I think it's difficult for majority of people that go in without the added layer of being either a black or brown person, being a Muslim person, which only makes, I think, things worse in prison. I'm sure Fidel would probably agree with that as well.
Yeah, 100%. During the time that I was in there and I wasn't practicing my faith and my behavior and how the staff used to treat me, it's too different compared to the times where I was practicing my faith and I had a lot more knowledge about my faith. So it helps me to navigate and deal with the prison staff a lot different compared to when I was much younger, naive, acting out violent and stuff like that. Whereas now I'm more understanding, calm and collective, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And from what you're saying, your faith has brought that.
My faith was the main thing, to be honest. Cause during the time where I remember I used to love basic a lot. I don't know why.
Just for any listeners that don't know what basic is, so in prisons you have, it was called an incentive and privilege, so everybody will start on like the standard, and basic is when you lose your privileges, so that means losing a number of privileges, including how many people can visit you a month, how much money you can send, and then above standard comes enhanced, where you get an increased amount of privileges. So that's what that refers to as basic.
And it's also worth saying that like there's research that shows that if you're black, brown, Muslim, you're more likely to be punished than given like positive incentives in that scheme as well.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I remember they used to use basic to put me down a lot, you know. So they used to threaten me with IEPs. They used to say, like, once you like basic, it's like 28-day basic, and if you behave for that period of time, they'll review you, and then they might take you off and bring you your TV and XYZ. But if within that period your behavior is bad, they will extend it to 1 more week, 2 more weeks. So during the time that I was on there, I used to like read a lot of books about my religion, you know. So that used to like help me just stay calm, you know. And before I know it, I remember times where they're like, yeah, your basic is over. I was like, no, I want to stay on basic mode. I don't want the TV. They're like, what? this doesn't make sense. What do you mean? You don't have a TV, you don't have a radio. How are you coping in there? From that day on, they realized, we cannot use this to break this. This is not working for this person, this particular prisoner no more. From there on, it's like, they don't trouble me no more. They come to me with correct, I don't know how to explain, but from that day on, it's like they always used to think, because a lot of people that they used to put on basic, they used to stress out, I don't have a TV, or let me self-harm myself, they'll start cutting themselves. I see a lot of madness in there, So to me, somebody like me that love being on basic, don't want to come off basic, they're thinking, wow, what's this guy?
So what was the thing about basic that you love so much?
Do you know what it was? Because going in prison, I didn't know what to expect. I remember times where I never had a cellmate. I was a high-risk single cell bang-up, and I used to just sit there by myself, just going crazy, and I'm thinking, bro, I know I'm going to stay here, spend more than 5 years in this place. I'm not going to continue the rest of my life like this. I need to find something to do ASAP. This is not good for my mental health. Other people cannot think like that. And I used to be good at art as well, So a lot of time I sit down there, do art. So when I'm bored of that, I want to try something different. Let me read book. Now, I don't like reading any book. When I'm reading something, I like to read and get some knowledge from it. I don't like to read it for the sake of reading it, And religion for me was the main thing, And like I said, I've always been Muslim. Before coming into prison, I wasn't a practice Muslim, It's only when I came to prison and I thought, I can't keep living like this. It's time to make changes, So when I started reading into my religion, I thought, right, this is something different. I need to change a lot of my behaviors, A lot of these arrogance and pride I have in me needs to go out the window. This is not Islam, And to me, it was amazing. It was amazing. And for the prison officer, it was also amazing for them to see that transformation just happen, Usually, I've met a lot of prisoners like me who are Muslim, they're not really as practiced as I am. But me, I don't like to, once I decide to change, I like to stick to it. When I was doing the life of crime, I done it to my best of my ability. When I decide to change into Islam and change my way into a better person, I'm also on that to my best of my ability. You know what I'm saying? So, my life, being Muslim in prison was, if I never took the religion serious in prison, I would have been back in prison right now, speaking honest to God. The religion really saved me. Wallahi adeen.
So there's this thing, Fidel, and I don't know if you came across this as well, So we've spoken to lots of people that have come out of prison, Muslim. And one of the things they say is, and Suleman, you've spoken about this as well, is that when you start practicing your deen more, or if prison officers see groups of Muslims together, or they suddenly see somebody becoming more religious, they're suddenly like, oh, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. Do you know what I mean? So how did you
I had that a lot.
Did you have?
I remember in Wood Hill, that's exactly how it was for me. Consider I was I think I was 22 them times. I was young, and they expect a lot of the people my age group to be selling drugs, to be not religious, to be doing all sort of activities that go around within prison. I don't really want to be going into details, but when they see someone like me, serious, and that's how I was. I wasn't selfish with my religion. When I started to change and happy with the changing that I was making, I start to express that within the people my age group. I was like, brother, come on, man, let's pray together. Come, you don't know how to do this, come, I know how to do it, I will teach you, come. And how I used to approach them in a soft manner, they used to like that. They're like, bro, who are you? They used to... It used to amaze them,
Yeah.
And then I remember times where I used to get 3-4 brothers into one cell, and we used to pray together. And the officer used to don't like that. Thinking why don't you like this? What's the issue? It's not like we're they're doing anything wrong. We're just praying together, They rather see us selling drugs, fighting amongst each other to do with gangbanging or whatever, than see us come together and trying to practice the faith and be calm, collective, and change the game. They rather see negativity than positivity. That's what I realized.
Why is that? Why is that though? Because you would think, because like you're saying, yeah, like when you started to think through like your faith, you started to become like more calmer.
Yeah.
Like you would think actually that's what somebody in prison would want, right?
Yeah.
But like it still feels like you're saying it doesn't make sense. It's really hard to understand. Is it because they couldn't control? Like if you're Muslim, it's like you're almost acting in a way that they don't expect.
Yeah.
Like is that?
Yeah, that's another thing, because you need to understand. You see, as for prison staff, they like to. You've committed a crime. Now you're there serving your time. So for them, it's a job, and they don't care about what you're doing and what you're going through. To them, they just want to lock you up. That's all they really want. They want to have that authority over you. But whereas within Islam now, they realize that when these so-called Muslims come together and pray and whatnot, yes, although they don't do stuff that is against the prison law, but there's this strong bond about them that we can't break. Like, yeah, we can tell them bang up, we can do this, and they will happily do without no complaint, nothing, and it's like, this is what they want. One day, Mr. Jobo, can you go and bang up? Why do I have to bang up today, man? They want me to give them that attitude. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you don't want to bang up? Oh, come. Now, that's an IEP. Oh, let me call. Why do you don't want to bang up? Let me call more stuff. We need to find, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like they want that out of me. Where Islam don't allow me to act like that, it's like it frustrates them. It's like, let me make up excuse to make these people react.
Yeah.
You get it? And that's what we was getting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we'll be minding our own business, like collective everything, and then you have what's it called, non-Muslim prisoner, we just come start trouble. No reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, why are you looking at me? What do you mean how am I looking at you? Okay, I'm looking at you. I'm sorry. No. What do you mean? Sorry, you're looking at me. You and your brothers are looking at me. All right, so we're sorry for looking at you. We don't mean to look at you. We'll continue walking, but then it's like they want us to.
That respond.
You get it? Don't get me wrong. I've witnessed and been a part where we had to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Like they'll push us to the point where we cannot take this humiliation all the time.
Yeah.
We cannot take it. And it's only how many times do you have to keep biting the same dog before it bark?
Yeah.
When they bark, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
But you've pushed me, you've led me to this point. I didn't want to show this side of me, but you've led it to me. Why? You should have just left me alone, happy with the way I was behaving. But no, you pushed me to the point where now I've reacted in a certain way. Now I'm the bad guy. Now I'm the finger to point. Come on, man. All right, cool. I might be the finger to point, but let's talk about how did I go to that stage?
How did that situation happen?
Yeah, how did that situation happen? What caused that to happen, because it didn't just happen out of the blues. And that's what a lot of the time they like to do. They like to cover up what caused the issue and just say, yeah, Muslim person, you're a bad guy, you done this, you done. No. Okay, yeah, he done this, he done that, he's a criminal, yeah, whatever. But how did they got to that? There's stages in life that will push you to that point. You don't just wake up in the morning, I don't like this officer, so I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to bang him in his face. No, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
That officer must have bullied me in the past or given me multiple IEPs, warning for no reason, fabricate things on my name that I didn't like over the past couple of years. And I've reported them. I've reported to the prison justice about it. Nothing has changed. I've even gone to the imam about it. Nothing has changed. So nobody seemed to be doing anything to help me. So what do I do? One day I'm going to wake up in the morning and bang him in his face. Oh, I'm the bad guy. What caused me to do that though?
Yeah.
What about all the complaining that I've been saying about this guy? I usually played blind eye to it. Now the day that I reacted and seeing red, I'm the bad guy. It don't work like that, you know?
Yeah,
so alhamdulillah, Islam, it really, man, showed me.
I think what's really interesting about what Fidel says, I think also scary at the same time, the fact that these officers are the ones that are writing the reports on you. They're the ones that are filling out the information on your file, your report, whatever it is. So if you think about prisoners who might rely on parole to get out of prison, and then a governor looking at their report file and saying, okay, we've had all these incidents in the prison, but they're not knowing any of that backstory, what Fidel mentions, that continuous provocations. That's what it comes down to, continuously like provoking you to react in a certain way, and then you're the one that gets in trouble at the end of it. So when you want to try getting out of prison on parole and someone's looking at your report, you look like a really bad prisoner because of the issues that you've been in. But it completely, the whole provocation, the whole story is completely lost in that. It just looks like X has hit this officer, X is in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really scary thing, thinking about it, about the amount of people that actually rely on parole, IPP prisoners, people there for a long time, and then actually trying to get out, and then probably still being classed as a certain risk. But in reality, it's because of the environment and the way they were sort of, that violent environment that they were in, and the harm that was caused that made him look like this type of risk on a piece of paper. But really, he's the most calmful, patient person because of his religion, but we don't see that side of things, or the person reading the report doesn't see that side of things.
So when they write up the report of your life or that moment, they're just like trying to reduce you to like 2 seconds of something that happened, that kind of split second moment, and not, like you were saying, Fidel, like that build up that's been happening. You're kind of like saying, in some ways, you're like in a group, you can be calm, you can be praying, you can be learning more about like the deen. And in some ways that is, you're not breaking any rules by doing that. Like the kind of normal prison rules that are written down on pieces of paper, the kind of mandatory guidelines. But at the same time, you're breaking other rules that prison officers have, which is like, you're not acting the way that they expect you to act. Do you know what I mean? You're not like, they want you to act in a certain way because that's the reason why they have their job. But you're kind of not acting in that way as well. And also, like you're saying, Fidel, like you sometimes have to like create a community where you have to look after yourself. Like I remember you saying, there's this one conversation you were saying, like if you have somebody new that comes into prison, you make sure that people like have a collection, and they make sure that there's like there's money on the canteen, or there's like clothes, or
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that time I remember. It also happened in Wood Hill. I remember what I used to do is because when you come into prison, they give you toothbrush, toothpaste, also called, I think, deodorant and soap to shower with, you know. Using that prison issue stuff, it's not the same as having your own canteen, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like after that experience that I had personally, over time, now to start to practice my faith and change a lot in my behavior, I decided, you know what? Yeah, man, any brother that come into this particular wing, brothers, or I don't care who you are, whoever come into this particular wing, this is how I'm gonna have it set. Fresh shower gel, fresh toothpaste, fresh toothbrush, everything fresh. Not from the prison issue, from my own pocket, you know what I'm saying? Because come on, man, I don't like that, man. You know, I like to make changes, you know? So officers, like, they used to see that, thinking, what's going on here? And then one day I told them what I'm actually doing. They're like, wow, you're amazing, you know, you're something else, you know? And some of them are like, well, you don't have to do that. We got prison issue. Prison already got that for them. Why do you have to take it extra mile? I was like, but it's not the same thing though, you know? Like this one's a bit better for them, you know what I mean? But some of them understood, some of them like, you're just being extra. But to me, I don't care what they think, because I wasn't doing for them, you know? Because this what made me happy as well, you know? And some of them, they didn't know that I was Muslim. Then when they find out that I was Muslim, they're like, bro, like, is this what Islam is about? Like, why'd you do this? I was like, they used to think I'm doing this so that one day if they have something that I like, I might ask for them and they might feel like, oh, you know, because you helped me out, let me give. Nah, it wasn't that. I was never doing it for no other benefit other than for the sake of Allah. And it used to make me feel good. You know what I'm saying? So then, yeah, I remember through that behavior alone, I used to see certain brothers used to, like, going to reading about Islam, like, why is this person so kind like this? I don't know him from nowhere. He just helping me out, like, you know? Yeah, man, that was amazing. I remember I was doing.
I think again that's something that I've seen as well in prisons. A Muslim person might come on a wing, first time in prison, never been there before, and people will gather around together. So the Muslim brothers will be like, okay, what do you have spare? Maybe you have a shower gel, maybe you have a packet of noodles, maybe you have a tin of tuna, and it's like, I guess you could call it like a small care package you can put together, and that can be done immediately, and you can give something over to them. And I think in so many ways, it's that feeling that within that person on the receiving side of things. Because I remember going into prison, I mean nothing, bearing in mind you probably get your last meal at 5 p.m. After that, you're not getting any food, and if it's your first couple of weeks, you've got nothing to actually eat. So just somebody giving you a packet of noodles is such a massive gesture, even though it might be a 25p packet of noodles. That gesture there, I don't think like that feeling that comes with it, there's nothing else that can come close to it in that sense, because it's such in a desperate situation. You don't have anything, and it's just the fact that someone's looking out for you, and they're in a situation similar to yours. They're in a desperate situation. They're in prison as well, but they have that concern that, you know what, this person hasn't got anything, and we can come together and provide them with something. And sometimes even the prison seeing that, I don't think it sits right with them. Like I've seen it in the fact that you might give somebody noodles because it's the Muslims coming together and give it to a Muslim prisoner. It's like, oh no, you're not allowed to be passing things to each other. Now the prison rules are now officially enforced. Generally, if you were giving somebody noodles, an officer might turn a blind eye. They understand it's food at the end of the day. People go hungry. It's normal. But now all of a sudden, because it starts to become a thing where the Muslim brothers that are coming on the wing are getting things that maybe others are not getting, the officers will start to be like, okay, no, you can't be passing things from one person to another. And, you know, just put up barriers that don't need to be there just because of it doesn't sit right with them. And also, like I said, that feeling of just having that community and actually sharing stuff, it's so big. I don't know. It's hard for me to even put into words, like describing them sort of feelings. I don't think they can be replicated in any other way in life unless you're in prison and in that situation and having that feeling in that situation there.
So is it because they're afraid of like you coming together as like you're organising together, like you're becoming a community? They don't like the strong bonds. Like that's the thing that scares them. Like,
I think so. Yeah, because I've seen like there'll be wings where over time now the Muslim community on that wing has grown, which is normal because people might want to push to get on that wing because they know there's probably 5-10 brothers on there. So people might try their ways to get there. So now eventually you might have, say, 15-20 Muslim people on one wing. Bearing in mind this is on a wing where there'll be like nearly 100 people. So it's still a small number. But the fact that that these communities come together now and they'll spend a lot of time together, they do everything for each other. The prison will come around one day and just split people up. People will get sent to other prisons. People will get sent to other wings. And no actual incident has happened to lead to this. But all of a sudden, the prison just come and split people. I'm sure Fidel can speak of examples of seeing that as well.
They done that to me one time. I remember I was on one wing, I remember they used to told me not to do the adhan out the window, but I didn't care. I used to come to the door.
Do the azan out there?
Yeah.
So azan's like call to prayer.
Yeah, call it to prayer, innit? So every time it's call it to prayer, I used to go to my door, and I used to just call it out loud. And they used to tell me, hey, my friend, this is not the masjid, this is not the mosque to be doing these kind of things. Wait till you come out of prison, you can go and do that. I just ignored them and continued doing what I was doing. They're thinking, this guy's a tough one, isn't it? All right. So no more. First couple of IAPs, basic. I'm already on basic. How do so you get it? They're thinking, all right, cool. Then they stopped me from going Jummah. They stopped me from going to Islamic classes. I'm thinking, what? Over because I was doing the adhan.
So they stopped you going just because you did the azan at the...
Just because I done the adhan at the door. And because the reason why I felt the need to do that, because there was a lot of brothers on the wing, you know, and we all know what time to pray. We all got clock on the time, but in the masjid, whenever it's time to pray, there will be a guy calling the adhan loud, you know, and it's beautiful. Just hearing it, you know. Yeah. So yeah, man, I used to have a good voice in it. So, and I was at the top floor as well where I was, so it was the perfect place. Yeah. The echo and everything. Yeah. That's why they used to hate, because it was loud. It was
Yeah.
And thinking about prison, like calling out from your door isn't abnormal. It's something that happens every single day, up and down the country at every prison. People will talk through their doors.
Yeah.
People will swear out their doors.
Yeah.
People will talk about, have full-on conversations.
Even when you come to visit a prison, you can hear people shouting from the outside.
I've never heard of any officers, that just came to my attention. I've never heard of any officers that butt into in the middle of them talking about whatever, saying, stop the noise or stop doing that, you'll get IP. Never.
Yeah.
The moment it's about religion aspect of thing, if you don't, you're not allowed to do that. If you don't stop, I'll give you IP. What?
Yeah.
People spend hours and hours talking about whatever rubbish. I don't hear nothing. But as soon as it's this way, so yeah, I remember they stopped me from going Jummah. They stopped me from going Islamic class. Like any form of religious stuff to get, you know what I'm saying? They don't want me. They just stop it.
And do you remember what they said? What the reason was? The reason was just like you shouldn't.
Yeah, I shouldn't do that. And then I remember, so cool. This what happened was, them time I didn't know how to read Arabic. Now I do, alhamdulillah. There was a brother there who taught me, But at the time when he was teaching me, there was also other brothers that didn't know how to read and they wanted to learn it as well. So altogether there was like 3 of us in a room, Don't get me wrong, that brother, he was under investigation. His case is crazy. But I didn't care. At the end of the day, you're still my brother in Islam. I'm just here for you to teach me something. Let's go. So what happened was, there used to be an officer that used to sneak by. He think we didn't notice. He used to sneak and stand outside the door to listen to what we're talking about, what we're doing, what we're planning. And every time he's listening, we're always saying the alphabet, alif, ba, ta. So he's thinking, bro, it just sounds like they just repeating sounds. I'll never forget this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So anyway, that happened. Yeah, man. I remember also cool. Yeah, from that now, by then I've already learned what I needed to learn, alhamdulillah, By then they started moving brothers to different wings. They're like, listen, we don't like this, because a lot of brothers becoming Muslim at the time as well. Yeah, and they didn't like that. And they're like, we seem like you always call the Adhan, Every time association, we never see you playing pool or playing table tennis. You always go into this brother's cell, spending the rest of your association in there. We don't know what you're doing there. And then you come in now with papers of Arabic writing. We don't know what radicalize. They used to love that word, radicalization.
Yeah.
That was their favorite word.
The prison system loves that word.
That was their favorite word,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think what's really interesting as well, again, what Fidel says about learning language and Arabic, I can guarantee you any other language you want to learn, especially in a prison, maybe that be French, Spanish, Italian, anything, you would be like, they would see you as like, wow, you want to learn a language. Like they would be happy to see you learning a language. I can see them using you as a case example, that you've gone in prison, you've come out learned a new language. Like you're like a poster boy, like this person gone to prison, he's come out learning Spanish. How amazing is that? How amazing is our prison system, etc., etc., etc. But now when it comes to learning Arabic, it's getting shut down. People are listening into what you're learning about. In some ways, you could say it's a fear of the unknown, but no, it can't be the fear of the unknown, because if it was Spanish, they might not understand what you're saying, but they would be comfortable in you learning that Spanish. So it just goes to show like Islamophobia and how much that's become a part of the system, how normalized that is in the system. Anything to do with Islam, Arabic, I could even imagine anything to do with the Middle East, especially thinking about the last year that we've just had. Anything that correlates with any of that doesn't sit right with the prison system. It's like, okay, something's going wrong. How can we police them a bit closer? What can we do to split them up? And in reality, for us, we're just trying to learn a language that are holy books written in, a language that millions of people speak in the world, and there should be no harm in that. It should actually be a positive thing. You should be, I don't know, in the sense that, okay, be uplifted about trying to learn a new language. But it just goes to show like Islamophobia, and it's ingrained. And I think that just reflects a bit of society as well, and how society sort of continue. I think something that you probably mentioned as well, like how prisons are a micronism of society, and like the things that happen in society, our prisons are sort of the starting point in that sense. And I think like Islamophobia, and also going back to the riots in the summer as well, and Islamophobia coming out in the open, it just goes to show from the story that Fidel shows, like, yeah, Islamophobia is a big part of the system. And I think when you mentioned prison rules and then officer rules, I think it's more like officer expectations. When they can't control a person because of his faith, I think Fidel even spoke about...
You become a threat.
Yeah.
They can't control you, they become a threat now.
Like being on basic, like putting somebody on basic is like, if we can threaten someone with basic, they will respond and act and behave in the way we want them to behave. But now you can't restrict that person with this basic because they have their faith and nothing can restrict them. All of a sudden they feel like they've lost control, and then they just become more violent. That's the way I see it. They just increase their violence, their harm, until it gets you to a breaking point. Thankfully, people have the faith to like protect them.
A lot of brother used to break though. I used to see it. A lot of brother used to break. Like they would be under the pressure that I was under, and they used to just I'm gonna stop praying. Let me just go back to smoking weed. Just go back to my old ways. But I didn't break once. I remember they even took me to block. That you see, basic didn't work for them. They're like, yeah, let's take him to block, away from all these Aki brothers. Let's see what he's gonna do by himself now.
What's block? So can you explain what block is?
It's like what's block again?
Segregation?
Segregation unit. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got a good memory. You know, I forgot the name. Yeah, that's it. Block segregation unit. Remember, they put me there. They deliberately turned off my water. I could not use water whilst I was in there. Yeah, I was stressing. I'm thinking, what is going on? But I still kept praying as normal. You know what I'm saying? But
and do you say they've turned your water off on purpose, on the fact that you wash before you pray?
Yeah, because they know, and why did I not? You see me, but I need to start explaining things a bit more better.
No, it's fine.
You know? It's because they know that the water, I use that to do my ablution before the prayer. You know, without that, I cannot pray. You know, so they switch that off deliberately. So without that, I can't pray. But there's something called tayammum. You can still, you know, put your hand on a rock and do it that way, you know. That's what they didn't know, you know. And I was still praying, and I was still feeling good, and I was still doing the adhan, the same caller to prayer they said I couldn't do on the wing. When I came here, I was still doing the same thing. How can you stop me?
Yeah,
you can't physically stop me. That's when they realize, yeah, you know, this guy he's different. Let's give him back everything. And I was there for like 2 weeks. After that, I came back to the wing, everything back to normal. Normal basic, here's your TV, back to normal. And I was behaving calm. And now they start to like me. Okay, why you didn't like me before when I was already doing this?
Yeah.
Therefore, it was just facade. I was doing it for a different purpose. What? This is my religion. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to gain anything. No. When I'm practicing, I'm really practicing it for real. I'm not here to play games, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I think the prison staff will try doing that, like making it difficult for you to practice your religion.
Yeah, very.
But what they don't realize is no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, no matter what methods they try to restrict you, like your religion is ingrained within you, it's a part of you. You can try doing whatever you want, but at the end of the day, my religion is me, it's my identity. I will continue and I will practice my religion. And I don't need anything for that. And I think that, again, it's something that probably doesn't sit right with the prison, in the fact that they can't control your faith, the way you believe. And I think Fidel mentioned as well, like some people will break. And I think it's completely normal to recognize that in that situation, it's a very abnormal situation. It's not something that people will live on the outside of prisons, where you have all this, just attention on your religion and constraints on your religion. So I think it's normal that people actually break down these situations, because there's no training manual on how to deal with this. There's no life experience to know how you would deal with such a situation. Sometimes when you're in that situation, you emotionally or mentally can't deal with it. So I think it's normal for people to actually realize that if you do end up in that situation, that it's okay. But you can always, I think with the amazing thing about religion is no matter how much your religion dips, you can always get back to where you are. And that's the way we see Islam, is like, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
And you don't always start. You don't always start in the best place on that journey, but it's about getting there as life goes on. And
Keep going, man.
It also just makes me think, like, lots of people, like ministers and other charities, talk about the fact that prisons can be a place to, like, for rehabilitation. And when I'm listening to you and all of the kind of interviews we've done in the past, to me that just feels like a complete lie. Prisons can't be a place of rehabilitation. I mean, the reasons why you found your faith and your community is down to you. Mm-hmm. And it's got nothing to do with, like, the prison officer or the prison structure trying to help you. If anything, they're trying to, like, prevent that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it just feels, I mean, that's why people talk about abolition, right? They say, like, there's no way that you can have a system like a prison that only harms people. Like, if you go through the prison system, you're more likely to come out more harmed than anything else.
And to be fair, I know of examples of people that have been to prison numerous times in their life, from teenagers to adult, and rehabilitation never worked because they've continued to go back into prison, they've continued to get into trouble, so there is no rehabilitation there. But then the one time when they've found their faith in religion, found their faith in prison, they've never gone back to prison ever again after that. So their faith has brought them more structure, more rehabilitation, inverted commas if you want to call it, than whatever millions you spent on a probation service, a rehabilitation service, a prison service. It's not done even a seed of rehabilitation compared to, like, what his faith has done. And then they've never gone back to prison. And I think that's something that within the Muslim community I see. People might come to prison and have had really tough lives, but then, and they might not be from a Muslim background, but when they do find Islam in prison, they've never gone back to prison again. I know examples of people that have been in prison 23 years. They found the faith, and now I know a brother doing a scholarship in Saudi Arabia on religion. And the prison would love to be able to implement these sort of things, but they just can't because of the ways they're built, their structures are, the people they have. They'll never be able to. They'll love to people to, like, go off and do scholarships and whatever, but when it comes to Muslims, it's the complete opposite. They don't want you to, they want to restrict your religion as much as they can.
What can we do as, like, for communities outside of the prison system? Like, what can we do to support people who are in prison? What would you, both of you, what do you think?
That booklet you showed me the other day was good. What's it called?
Jamia. So that's a booklet that we've made at Maslaha.
Amazing. Yeah, I think continue doing that will help.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why we made that booklet was just to understand that families were struggling to navigate such a prison system, especially thinking about Muslim families and how ingrained discrimination, Islamophobia, racism is within the prison system. And it's a very basic book, as welcome to think of it. It just has practical advice on what you can do if you have a loved one in prison, how you can emotionally support them, how you can send them money, how you can book a visit, because these are a challenge. And we don't see these challenges. I think we tend to often ignore them until we're in that situation. And it's only when we're in that situation we're like, okay, like, where do I go to? What's my, where is this information even available? And I think that's really difficult for families. But so many families, people in our community are going through it. I think it's something that we definitely need to give it more attention, in the sense that we need to give people that space and that time to, like, heal with these sort of things and bring them together. I think, like, just being in this conversation is a form of healing from certain traumas, experiences. And I think it's important that we continue to have them conversations, making sure that, I don't think these problems are disappearing soon, but if we can come together as a community and take them on, I think we can only get in a better place. I think right now sometimes we tend to just ignore the problem and maybe think, oh, it'll go away, but it doesn't seem to be like that. And the problem is here. It's more here than it's ever been. So we just continue sort of, I guess, doing the work that we do at Maslaha with our communities, with people in prison, with making sure these stories are getting out. People are seeing, like, 2024 United Kingdom. This is the experience of Muslim people within prisons. Otherwise, them stories don't ever get out. People don't really speak about it once they get out. They don't know if people are interested. But it's important that we do hear them, just to recognise the harms that are being caused. Because these people are going to come out and back into our communities.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the harm that's been caused, how are we even able to support them in any way?
So does it feel like there's a way of, like, supporting? So Jamia was like a pamphlet that we created on like advice of what happens, and you can get that from our website. If somebody goes to prison, how to support them. So Fidel, does it feel like there's some work around supporting people while they're in prison? Like maybe even raising, like if you make complaints and those nothing happens, the complaints, would that be something?
Yeah, 100%. That would definitely help. I don't know what happens to them complaints, bro.
Yeah. So you've made complaints before and like nothing's come?
Yeah, nothing. Or you get a reply back, but the reply is no further action. But yeah, it's like you get a reply, but the reply is like no further action.
Yeah.
But you don't want it. You want more further action, but they're telling you, nah, we can't take it. What do you mean can't take it? So where can that? Because if I was outside and I complain to the judge, the judge ain't going to send me back, say, yo, your case is closed. No, it don't work like that. What you mean my case? Okay, yeah, we heard your case. Okay, we're going to look into it. That's what the sole reply I would want.
Yeah.
You're never going to get that reply from prison, bro.
Yeah.
You get it? They're just going to read it and say, yeah. Yeah, we see where it is. We don't think it's that serious. So yeah, from here, we can't. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you it'll tell you to go through what are they called? I forgot, man.
Independent Monitoring Board.
Is it?
IMB?
Yeah, IMB, my guy. They'll tell you go through IMB, you know? They're the same people, bruv.
Yeah.
They're the same people in suit. That's it, bro.
Yeah.
You know? And they will just tell you the same thing. Oh, yeah, we looked into it. Nah. Then now, if you ever take them to court, they will tell you, no, your first complaint you wrote, we've sent you back with the opportunity to go through IMB. You gone through that. There's nothing we can do. And then now IMB going to come and say, yeah, we've looked at your case. Boom, we've seen that you wrote to the first complaint. Then you did it. You're not happy with that response. So you came to us. We've looked at it and we don't think that we don't think that it's important enough for us to take it any further. So we just close it from here. That's what they're going to tell you in the court. Wow, you can't, what you mean you close it? It don't work like that. Yeah. You get it? But that just, to them, that's how it works, you know? But if you're not Muslim now, and you're Christian or you're not even religious, you write a complaint about something, somehow it's going to go through these people. All right, cool. Sometimes they might give you headache, say, yeah, go through IMB. But when you go through IMB, they're going to give you support. They'll be like, oh, yeah, cool. Get in contact with the chaplaincy or get in contact with this and that. So why is it when it's Muslim, I don't get the same, get in contact with the imam? What's this about?
Yeah.
I think in so many ways, the complaint system is just flawed in prisons. Like no one uses it.
Yeah.
Especially thinking about the Muslim community, we don't use the complaint system because it doesn't actually produce any results for you. There's no wins in that sense. So people just have become so disengaged with the complaint system. We don't use it anymore. It's just a system in place that the prison have put in place to feel like, oh, there's some sort of accountability, but in reality, it's not benefiting the people in prison in any way. So that's why people don't complain anymore. It's just like it's a process that's there.
So there was a report from the Zaid Mubarak Trust a few years ago that showed that only 1 in 100 complaints were upheld when it was made by a black and brown person.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't work. What's the kind of support, like, and we're kind of wrapping up now, but like, what kind of support do people need once they're out? Like, what's the most important thing that, like, if we were going to like ask our different communities to come and support people once they're released from prison, what would that be?
When they come out, they need to, what's it called? First thing, they need to sort out their bank card. You get it? Patent the bank card. So jump for universal credit so you can get some form of income, because without that, you're going to start thinking, yo, let me commit crime, you know? Yeah, the prison, they give you, I don't know, I think 50-something pound when you come out. But come on, man, what's that going to do? You need something ASAP, you know? So yeah, the first thing, get in contact with what's it called, the bank, universal credit, and then, yeah, man, come work with Maslaha. We'll put you on. You get it?
I think when people coming out of prison, I think having a community to go back to is a very important thing. Sometimes such practical things like Fidel mentions, like a bank card, ID, whatever that might be. If you've never done it before, you might have gone to prison as a child, come out as an adult. You might not have anyone around you. You won't have any idea on where to even begin with that. So having an able community there that's able to support you to understand, okay, that this is a normal situation, other people have been in it, but we're here to support you and take you down that path, wherever that path leads to, in the sense of getting you into a better place. So I think it's important that communities welcome people back with open arms when coming out of prison, and once we're back in, we're able to signpost them to the relevant places and just guide people, rather than thinking, oh, okay, they've been to prison, they might be a bad person, and that sometimes can remove trust. So I think people trust their own communities. When communities are welcoming of people and actually support people, can we actually get everybody to a better place? Because these people are going to be back in your community, and if they're not getting the help they need, they're either going to end up back in the same place, which is prison, or it's going to somehow affect other people in the community, which doesn't help anybody. So I think it's important that, we as a community just think about like how we welcome people back.
I mean, if like Fidel, you were saying, like in prison, you can like come together and support people in prison in that violent environment. You can create your own care packages, and you can do that in prison when you have nothing. Then there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that once people are released.
100%.
Thank you so much. Like, it's been so great talking to both of you, and I think there's so much like experience and knowledge and wisdom, like just from just hearing from your experiences, and it's also the kind of stories that people don't normally hear.
I think it's important to even recognize that these experiences are important, and their expertise on such situations. I think a lot of people will go to prison and come out and think, oh, I'm never going to speak about that again, because people don't want to hear it. But it's really important that these stories are shared and these stories actually get out of prisons and people hear them.
Thank you so much, both. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Surviving Society.
To support our work, you can rate,
review and subscribe to host or produce a series of Surviving Society.
Get in touch with us via Twitter or Instagram.